So for today, we're going to be looking at our O2 sensor wiring diagram. We can see for bank 1 and bank 2, we are going to have a 4-wire connection. And I've already installed these before on my vehicle, so I know they are planar type O2 sensors. And right now, we're going to look at the location of the two of them. The location of our upstream O2 sensors / primary O2 sensors, they're going to be located on the exhaust manifold coming down to the catalytic converters. And you can see that's going to be one of our 4-wire connections right there. And it would be the same on this side as well for bank 2. Yet right now we're going to move down and check out our secondary O2 sensors / downstream. So here we're going to be able to see on the left side, you have one of my downstream O2 sensors, and on the other, you have the other one. And if we look at the connection, you can see that is a 4-wire connection getting sent right there. Also, while looking at our wires on here, we can see that they also match up with our wiring diagram for our secondaries and primary O2 sensors. So I pulled my downstream O2 sensor, and as you can see, there's not much contamination at all or any carbon buildup. But over time, these can get bad and can possibly throw off your signal, but this one's operating correctly. All right, and also after inspecting this further, you can see right here the planar type element, and we can see by our diagram that we went over in class that this is the same type of sensor, which has the heated integrated element inside of it, and that runs right through the middle of the sensor.
Now, while we look at the scan to idle, we have our short-term fuel trims for bank 1 and 2 at the top. As you can see, our bank 1 is reading about 0, and our bank 2 is reading around 1.6 to 0.8. We can also see our short-term on the other bank changing. And then we also have our oxygen sensor voltages for our sensor 1s for bank 1 and 2. And we can watch these readings change as I give the engine throttle. As you can see, our voltages spike on the top, or our percentages spike on the top, and so do our voltages on the bottom. So here, I've created multiple vacuum leaks to ensure that the engine is not running properly so that we can read our PIDs. And if we come into the vehicle and look at our sensor voltage outputs, we can see that we are reading higher on our upstream sensors, and our downstream voltages did not change because they are not working properly. Now, if we rev the engine and compare these voltages again, we are running a lot richer, it seems, on our upstream sensors, and for some reason our bank 1 sensor 2 did not want to read anything, but we did get a reading on our bank 2 sensor 2. And if we try this one more time just to confirm, so here we are reading the resistance of our air fuel sensor heater. This is our bank 2 sensor 1, and when we have our leads connected to our 4-wire sensor, we are reading about 4.2 ohms.
So we're going to be looking at our downstream O2 sensor, and we can see that the pink and the white wire here are going to be controlling our heater circuit. Right now I'm testing the resistance value of our heater circuit on my downstream O2 sensor, and as we can see, it's sitting around 4.5 ohms. And this is good because it should be in between 3 and 30.
Here we can watch our lambda readings for bank 1 and 2 sensor 1 change when I rev the engine. And we can see our readings So now if we compare our voltage outputs for our upstream sensors and our downstream sensors, we can see that the downstream sensors on this car are actually not functioning properly. We should be reading at least 0.1 volts at both of our downstream sensors at idle, and right now we're reading 0 volts entirely. Our our upstream sensors, however, are reading above 3 volts, which looks as it should. And if we give the engine some gas, we can see that we are getting some readings on our downstream sensor outputs, but not at idle, which is not correct.
All right, so right now Carter's going to be adding propane into the intake system, and we're going to be seeing if these O2 sensors for voltage, these are for the downstream O2 sensors and these are for the upstream. And we're going to be looking if it makes any change to our 0 voltage. And as you can see, we're starting to get readings for both O2 sensors for our downstreams, and they're going to read very rich, as we can see, going to around 0.9 volts.